Christina Fulton. Christina Fulton, a multifaceted talent known for her work as an actress, model, and advocate, passed away at the age of 56. Her dynamic presence on and off the screen, coupled with her passionate activism and deep care for others, made her a memorable and beloved figure in the entertainment world and beyond. Born on June 26, 1967, in Boise, Idaho, Christina began her journey in a world far removed from Hollywood. Raised in a modest family setting, she developed an early appreciation for self-expression through art, beauty, and storytelling. Her striking looks and bold charisma eventually led her into the world of modeling, where she quickly found success working with high-profile fashion brands and gracing the pages of several prestigious magazines. However, Christina's aspirations went far beyond the surface. She transitioned into acting in the late 1980s and early 90s, bringing with her a compelling mix of vulnerability and strength. Her performance in films like The Girl with the Hungry Eyes and Lucinda's Spell showcased her range and commitment to emotionally complex roles. She wasn't just playing characters, she embodied them, leaving a mark on audiences with her intensity and authenticity. Christina's acting career was often overshadowed by her personal life, particularly her high-profile relationship with actor Nicolas Cage, with whom she had a son, Weston Coppola Cage. Despite the media attention, Christina remained fiercely private about her personal struggles and triumphs, choosing instead to focus on her child and her creative passions. Her love for Weston was at the core of her identity, and she raised him with a mix of discipline, affection, and an emphasis on personal freedom. As Weston grew up, Christina's life shifted toward advocacy and empowerment, especially for women and youth. She launched several initiatives aimed at mental health awareness and self-esteem building. One of her most prominent efforts was the Help Stop the Bully Foundation, where she worked with schools, parents, and communities to combat bullying and support young individuals struggling with identity and self-worth. Her passion stemmed from personal experiences and her maternal instinct to create a safer, more nurturing world for her son and his generation. Christina also ventured into the world of directing and content creation. Her documentary work and reality-based programming reflected her desire to bring real-world issues into the spotlight. Whether she was interviewing thought leaders, discussing inner healing, or exploring the complexities of fame, Christina approached each project with courage and raw honesty. Her voice was both fierce and compassionate, never afraid to challenge societal norms. Away from the spotlight, Christina was a deeply spiritual person. She believed in energy healing, self-discovery, and the idea that people could reinvent themselves regardless of their past. Friends and colleagues often described her as intense but enlightening, someone who could push you to look inward while standing beside you in your darkest hour. Her final years were spent balancing her role as a mother, a healer, and a truth teller. She remained active in her community, frequently speaking at events, working with youth programs, and maintaining her online presence where she shared meditative insights and wellness practices. Christina's passing leaves a profound void, especially among those who found strength in her story. Her legacy is not limited to her filmography but extends into the lives she touched with her empathy, her activism, and her unrelenting belief in personal evolution. She is survived by her son, Weston, and her extended family and friends, who remember her not just as a public figure, but as a woman of vision, resilience, and relentless love. George Foreman. George Foreman, the legendary heavyweight boxing champion, Olympic gold medalist, preacher, and entrepreneur, passed away at the age of 76. His life was nothing short of extraordinary, a powerful blend of strength, faith, resilience, and reinvention that left a lasting mark not only in the world of sports but across generations of fans and admirers around the globe. Born on January 10, 1949, in Marshall, Texas, George Edward Foreman came from humble beginnings. Raised in Houston's Fifth Ward, he often described himself as a troubled youth. But a government program called the Job Corps changed his trajectory. It was through this program that George discovered boxing, and it changed everything. Under the guidance of trainer Doc Broadus, Foreman's raw aggression was channeled into focused discipline, and he soon emerged as a rising star in the amateur boxing world. In 1968, Foreman represented the United States at the Mexico City Olympics and won the gold medal in the heavyweight division. He famously waved a small American flag after his victory, a moment that stood out in a politically charged Olympic Games. That win launched his professional career in 1969, and within just a few years, he climbed to the top of the heavyweight rankings. In 1973, George Foreman became the heavyweight champion of the world by defeating Joe Frazier in a stunning second-round knockout. Known for his devastating punching power, he was feared in the ring. But his reign was interrupted in 1974 in what would become one of the most iconic boxing matches in history, the Rumble in the Jungle. Facing Muhammad Ali in Zaire, Foreman was outwitted and worn down by Ali's rope-a-dope strategy, ultimately losing the fight by knockout. It was a loss that profoundly impacted him. In 1977, after a defeat by Jimmy Young, Foreman experienced Mel Novak. Mel Novak, the iconic martial arts and action film star known for his roles alongside legends like Bruce Lee, has passed away at the age of 78. A man of grit, talent, and deep spiritual conviction, his journey through Hollywood was as dramatic and compelling as the characters he portrayed on screen. Born as Melvin Novak in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Mel was of Serbian descent and originally pursued a career in professional baseball. In his youth, he was a gifted athlete, even receiving offers from Major League Baseball teams. However, an unexpected and serious injury ended that dream prematurely. But what seemed like a devastating setback turned out to be the beginning of a different kind of destiny, one that would take him to the heart of the film industry. Mel's acting career took off in the 1970s and 80s, where he carved out a unique niche for himself as a go-to villain and anti-hero in martial arts and action films. His rugged looks, commanding screen presence, and real-life martial arts skills made him a favorite among directors looking to cast intense and memorable characters. Perhaps his most legendary role came in Game of Death, 1978, where he played the cold and calculating assassin stick opposite the great Bruce Lee. Though Bruce had passed before the film's completion, Mel's scenes and performance became iconic among martial arts fans worldwide. Over the years, Mel appeared in a variety of cult classics and low-budget action films that gained him a loyal fanbase. From Black Belt Jones to An Eye for an Eye, he consistently delivered powerful performances, often portraying complex villains who left lasting impressions. He worked with a roster of stars like Chuck Norris, Steve McQueen, and Jim Kelly, earning respect both in front of and behind the camera. But what many didn't know about Mel was the strength of his faith and his commitment to helping others. Off-screen, he was a passionate minister who dedicated much of his later life to prison outreach, homeless ministries, and motivational speaking. He used his platform and personal experiences to reach people struggling with addiction, violence, and hopelessness, showing them that redemption was always possible. His words, often filled with scripture and encouragement, came from a place of genuine care and lived experience. Despite his rough-on-the-outside persona in films, those who knew Mel personally described him as humble, generous, and spiritually grounded. He never let fame define him and often turned down roles that conflicted with his values. To Mel, his greatest role wasn't in the movies, it was serving others and living a life of purpose. Mel Novak's passing is not just the end of an era in action cinema, it's the farewell of a man who turned adversity into legacy, both on screen and off. From unforgettable fights in film to fighting for souls in real life, his impact will echo far beyond Hollywood. Liam Payne. Liam Payne, the former One Direction singer, tragically passed away on October 16, 2024, after falling from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires. His untimely death marked a heartbreaking conclusion to a life and career that held great promise. Payne was a pivotal figure in the reinvention of the boyband concept. Initially part of the UK X Factor in 2010, he, along with Niall Horan, Zayn Malik, Louis Tomlinson, and Harry Styles, formed One Direction. The band, which finished third in the competition, would go on to achieve unprecedented success, selling over 70 million records worldwide and becoming the first group in history to have their first 4 albums debut at #1 on the US Billboard chart. Following One Direction's hiatus in 2016, Payne pursued a solo career, signing with Republic Records in North America. In 2017, he released his debut solo single Strip That Down, which reached number 3 on the UK singles chart and number 10 on the US Billboard Hot 100. The song received multi-platinum certifications in both countries. The following year, he released For You, a collaboration with Rita Ora which became a hit worldwide and received gold or platinum certifications in several countries. His solo studio album, LP1, was released in December 2019. During the first 3 years of his solo career, Payne sold over 18 million singles, 2.4 million albums, and amassed 3.9 billion streams. Payne struggled with substance abuse and mental illness throughout his career. On October 16, 2024, he died at the age of 31 after falling from a third-floor balcony at a hotel in Buenos Aires, Argentina, while intoxicated. Following his death, Payne's track Teardrops debuted on the UK singles chart, alongside the re-entry of 11 of his other works. 5 people were later charged in connection with his accidental death, 2 people for supplying him with narcotics, and 3 people for criminal negligence of a person who was a danger to himself. What set Novak apart was his commitment to authenticity. He performed all his own stunts and fight scenes, a decision that led to numerous injuries and chronic pain in his later years. Despite these challenges, he remained dedicated to his craft, appearing in over 80 films throughout his career. Beyond the screen, Novak was an ordained minister who dedicated nearly 4 decades to prison and Skid Row ministries. He officiated at various celebrity funerals and was known for his compassionate outreach to the marginalized, embodying a stark contrast to the villains he portrayed on film. Novak's contributions to martial arts and cinema were recognized with his induction into the USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame in 2008. He is survived by his daughters, Nicole and Leah, his ex-wife Vera Novak, and several grandchildren. Mel Novak's legacy is one of versatility and dedication, both in his cinematic endeavors and his humanitarian efforts. His life serves as a testament to the profound impact one individual can have across diverse spheres. Nicky Katt. Nicky Katt, the fearless and enigmatic actor best known for his gritty roles in cult classics and intense television dramas, passed away at the age of 53. With a career spanning more than 4 decades, Katt stood apart in Hollywood, not because he sought the spotlight, but because he commanded attention every time he appeared on screen. He had a rawness that was both magnetic and unsettling, making his characters impossible to ignore and his performances deeply memorable. Born in South Dakota and raised in Los Angeles, Katt started his acting journey as a child, but it was in his adult roles that he truly flourished. He left an unforgettable mark in Dazed and Confused as the edgy, unpredictable Clint, and then later wowed audiences in films like Boiler Room, The Limey, Full Frontal, and Suburbia. Perhaps most famously, he played Harry Sennett in Boston Public, the kind of teacher you feared but couldn't help but respect. His characters were often morally gray, rebellious, complicated, sometimes menacing, but they were always human, always real. Katt was fiercely independent in his career choices. He didn't chase blockbusters or media attention. Instead, he chose roles that spoke to his sensibilities as an artist, stories that were raw, unconventional, and thought-provoking. Directors admired him for his intensity and fearlessness, and fellow actors appreciated his authenticity and depth. Off the set, he was known to be introspective, quietly generous, and passionate about craft over fame. While many actors tried to be stars, Nicky Katt remained an actor's actor, respected, original, and unapologetically himself. His passing leaves behind a legacy of powerful, underrated performances that continue to resonate. He may not have been the most famous face in the room, but when he was on screen, he made sure you could not look away. For lovers of cinema, Nicky Katt will always represent the rare kind of actor who never sold out, never softened, and never played it safe. Vontae Davis, a former NFL Pro Bowl cornerback known for his speed, skill, and surprising mid-game retirement, passed away at the young age of 35. His sudden death shocked the football world and left fans mourning the loss of a man who was as complex as he was talented. One of his most notable behind-the-camera contributions was his involvement in cult classics and B-movie productions, where he embraced the spirit of indie filmmaking. He was never afraid to take risks, always experimenting with bold ideas and unusual stories. His credits spanned across genres, from horror and science fiction to comedy and documentary-style productions. He also took great pride in helping young talent get a foot in the door, offering mentorship and guidance that many in Hollywood considered invaluable. Despite his Hollywood roots, Joey remained grounded. He often spoke candidly about the struggles that child actors face, including the challenges of transitioning to adult life and careers outside the spotlight. He used his own experiences to advocate for better support systems for child performers and to raise awareness about the pressures of fame at a young age. Joey also had a deep love for animals and was known to be an advocate for animal rights, often volunteering for local shelters and rescue groups. His connection to Lassie, a show centered around the loyalty and heroism of a dog, only deepened his lifelong compassion for animals. Throughout his life, Joey was recognized not only for his talents but also for his kindness, humility, and sense of humor. He was often described by friends and colleagues as someone who lit up every room he walked into, carrying with him a contagious energy that made people feel seen and appreciated. In his later years, Joey enjoyed reflecting on his time in the golden age of television. He regularly participated in fan conventions, retrospectives, and interviews where he recounted behind-the-scenes stories and reflected on the legacy of his work. His connection with fans never waned, and he remained grateful for the continued love and support he received decades after his television debut.